Hello and welcome to the Punch Pod. My name is Panchsheel and this is a podcast where I talk about creativity, art, and everything in between. Today's episode is a bit of an exercise in reflection. I was reading Austin Kleon's Steal Like an Artist a few weeks back. It's become like a yearly tradition. I read it whenever I'm feeling really imposter syndrome and not creative enough. On page 22 of the book, Austin Kleon writes, seeing yourself as part of a creative lineage will help you feel less alone as you start making your own stuff. I hang pictures of my favorite artists in my studio. They're like friendly ghosts. I can almost feel them pushing me forward as I'm hunched over my desk. And this idea of a creative lineage really got me thinking. I've always found that looking back can at times help you understand where to go next. And that's exactly what I did. I took a pen and a paper and I just started listing down my biggest inspirations, people who have inspired me and are a part of the way I create things and think about things. And the list of names that I got from this tiny exercise made me rethink everything that I'm doing. Had a bit of an existential crisis then, to be very honest, but it led me to the path that I'm on right now. If you want to do this, you can. And here's how I did it. First things first. I wrote down all the names of the artists, writers, people who inspire me and have been instrumental in my creative and personal journey. Just writing down all the names took me around half an hour or so. Then, I separated them in different categories according to what they do and what sort of impact they've had on me. The categories I made were visual artists, musicians, and writers. And that was it. When you're making your own creative genealogy, make it however you want to. The way I did it may not work for you, but maybe you'd like to make a mind map which might work for you much better. Now, of course, as time goes on, your creative genealogy will keep changing, but that's a good thing. That shows growth. The existential crisis I spoke about earlier came in a few days after I had done this exercise, after I had had enough time to digest and ruminate over how exactly these people have inspired me and my work. But that's a conversation for another time. Man's life is generally habitual and unreflective. Reflective thought, in the sense of active, persistent, and careful consideration of any belief or supposed form of knowledge in the light of the grounds that support it and the further conclusions to which it tends, is quite rare and arises only in a situation which presents a dilemma or a crisis. Dr. Ambedkar said this in the context of religion, but I think it transfers well to the creative process. In the rush of creating more and following the trends and making ends meet, we often forget our why. Why did we even start creating in the first place? It's important to remember that, and exercises in reflection like this one can help you reorient yourself towards your goals. If you'd like to have a look at my creative genealogy, you can head over to my Instagram at @thepunchpod, and I'd love it if you could share yours as well. One last thing I want to say to every creator listening to this is that the imposter syndrome, the self-doubt, the self-hatred sometimes, the cringe, it's all part and parcel of why we do what we do. Creating what you want and creating according to your vision is amazing, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You trust that your idea, your vision, your perspective is unique and it has something to offer. That in itself is a radical act of self worth. And we all need that. We all need to believe in ourselves, especially in times like these. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you next week.